Bo Pribula is pretty good at passing the football, right? This offense is really good. They've run the ball better than anyone else in the country. Ahmad Hardy leads the country, I believe, in missed tackles force. If you check Bama's stats, how good they are tackling the ball carrier, not great. They came into last week 80%, which was the lowest in the SEC. So there's a lot to like here for Mizzou.
It's Mizzou That's Who here on KC Sports Hour. Tucker Franklin hanging out with Maggie Johnson for your Alabama preview episode, and there is no one else that we could have on to preview the Alabama Crimson Tide. Then Chris Marler, you can find him on Twitter at Vern_Funquist. Chris, how you doing?
I'll be even better after Tide whoops this Missouri team in a couple weeks.
All right.
Couple days. I don't know.
Yeah,
numbers.
I'm like, how long are we waiting for this game?
I was debating on introing myself with a really lame, low-hanging fruit joke about, like, I don't even know why Missouri's in the SEC. They're so far away, so many states away. Because I don't think y'all have heard that joke yet. Have y'all heard that joke yet? Dean's conference?
No.
No.
I'm going to stop talking like this for sure. But I'm happy to be here. I'm very happy to be here.
Go. Glad to have you back.
I haven't heard that one. I haven't heard what mid-poo is a very popular one.
It is really bad. That's a really bad one.
So bad. I don't understand. You know what? I don't even think a lot of these were you. Well, the whole, like, they're not in the SEC. That's been used since we got here. But, like, the nicknames, I feel like didn't come until Oklahoma fans were like, this is what we call. I'm like,
yeah, that's true.
But it was definitely.
I never heard mid-poo until Oklahoma got here.
Yeah. Me either. So. But we've got a big game. Big game this
Who does? Missouri is playing somebody?
Yeah, 11 a.m. kickoff. Just tales old as time. Missouri Tigers and 11 a.m. kickoffs, especially the big games. Alabama Crimson Tide coming to town to Columbia for a ranked matchup. 8 versus 14, right? Is this what this matchup ends up being in the AP poll?
Marler, I guess also address this real quick. The AP has done a great job at ranking and evaluating teams so far. So
no one's ever had anything bad to say about them.
No, we all agree.
My favorite was when Notre Dame was 0-2, and they're like, well, "What do we do? Oh, let's rank them in the 20s."
Yeah.
What? The preseason poll? The preseason is a joke. They shouldn't even make a poll until maybe like a few weeks in, because you get so much benefit of the doubt if you're in the top 10, and there's no reason you're in the top 10 except for what your name is.
I never thought that was a good point until this year. I've never been in that camp where I'm like, because like I'm very much a traditionalist of college football, where it's like I love how things made me feel when I was growing up in nostalgia time. Not how my team played, because that was a pretty big up and down roller coaster. And so but I think like I like the preseason magazines coming out and having like a poll to look at and be like, get excited for like a week 0 game between 1 versus 3 or whatever. But like this year, it's gone to crap. I don't know if we're allowed to cuss on here, so I probably should have asked them beforehand. But like it's been bad. And so I think that the thing that's so weird about it is the commitment to people of being like, no, I know this is true. We clearly know that Texas is one of the best teams in the country. It's like, no, they're not. They're really not. And so unless
Arch Manning plays there, plays there.
Dude, the Texas media, I know you guys joked about this when they were coming in the conference, and it didn't take long to realize how bad it was going to be. I just assumed Oklahoma would be worse, because this is going to sound crazy. Of the two programs at the time, one of them actually won things, and that was Oklahoma.
Right. Yeah.
So to hear Texas fans come in here and be this weird about how great their school is, and it's like, yeah, they are the epitome of the Ross Geller, like, I'm fine meme. Like that's who they are. Like, no, you're not. We all see it. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I saw some Texas fans talking about us this week. And I'm like, what's going on? Because they're trying to punch down, and I'm like, come on, man. Like,
that's not a good place to start.
No, it's not a good place to start. And also, just go win games. Like, that's nobody's going to respect you because you're making fun of Mizzou. They're going to respect you because you win games. I mean, maybe they don't respect us because we win games. But
That's also very true.
they might do it to Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least they have a brand behind them. The only thing that I think of as a Missouri fan with Texas is Tom Herman making fun of Drew Lock after he did like the backpack celebration. That stupid asshole Tom Herman. I hate that guy.
He's doing well though.
I guess. I don't know.
Is he? I don't even know where he's at anymore.
No,
Yeah.
the last time I heard about Tom Herman was he was like something was involved with him spending like thousands of dollars on a recruiting trip to a strip club in Florida, and he was doing it on like a what do you call it, company issued credit card, which was like from Texas.
Yeah, no, that's great. He's winless in AAC play, and FAU fired him last year. And then I just see this from 2 days ago. Tom Herman chased down opposing coach after blowout loss.
Hell yeah, dude!
So that's
for a job.
Saturday down south. Oh, this is not in chronological order.
We don't talk about.
Why are you reading Saturday Down South right now?
I don't know, dude. I'm just reading the headlines. I'm just reading everything comes across my computer. I'm Ron Swanson. If it comes across the teleprompter, I'm gonna say it.
I'll tell you what. Outside of the headline, probably not a lot of substance to the rest of that article. Just guessing from those journalists over there.
Probably.
That's great. I like Connor.
Oh, that's funny.
I really am very curious of what he's doing. I don't think he's employed. I think he's an unemployed individual. He's probably drawing unemployment off the government. Tom Herman is. It wouldn't be surprised.
He doesn't have that buyout money.
No, he didn't get the buyout money. He retweets a lot of Texas football still. This account has not been active in a while, but this podcast is not about Tom Herman. It's about Missouri and Alabama game coming up here pretty darn quick on Saturday. This is an Alabama team that is 4-1, 2-0 in the SEC, coming off big wins against Georgia, big wins against Vandy. Johnny Manziel on the sidelines for that one. I saw he was talking shit to some Bama fans. Isn't that so weird? Isn't that weird?
It was weird. It was weirder because it was like, I get it if you're supporting him. I have called Diego Pavia Husky Johnny Manziel for well over a year and a half, and I deserve credit for how hilarious that is and also how much it came to fruition.
Yeah, I give
to my own horn. Also, it only became weird to me when I realized, I was like, hold on a second. This dude his team had a game, like a big game, a night game in Kyle Field, and he was like, nah, I'm going to go to Tuscaloosa. What? Like, anyway.
And support two teams that neither that he played for.
Right.
That's the weirdest part to me. And I mean, he graduated over 10 years ago. Did he graduate? I don't know if he graduated.
I think he went early.
But he left Texas A&M
Yeah.
over 10 years ago. It's just weird. It's weird all around. I'm not going to say that I'm glad Alabama won. I don't think I care either way, but it was just kind of funny that after everything Diego was saying and after everything Johnny Manziel was saying, that they didn't win.
So
it is funny.
So here's a question, kind of coming into this game. They're coming off two big wins. At Georgia was a big win, and against the Vanderbilt Commodores, where Diego Pavia was practicing taking knees pregame, which is just an insane move. I love the kid because he's just so insane.
Tell him to stop. Tell him to stop doing that.
He's so insane, and I love it. But how are the vibes around this Alabama team? Because, first game of the season wasn't great vibes, and it feels like things have gotten better since then.
Too high, I think. I think like there's a comp that I'm going to give you to this game here in a second after I get off my soapbox that I think is. I will admittedly say I'm talking partially out of fear here because that's the team I'll be cheering for this weekend is Alabama. And you already have one loss, and you can only really afford one more, especially with how bad Florida State's played over the last 2 weeks. Yeah. So it's a bad matchup for them, I think, this weekend. But the vibes are really high because Georgia thinks that they have become Alabama's Super Bowl. No, they're just still your daddy. And like every time they go out and play, we're reminded of that. I mean, like, and I'm not saying that just to talk trash to Georgia fans. I will, but like, that's not what I'm doing right now. They've lost 11 of their last 12 against Alabama. And you think about like, you've got a new coach, you've got them at home. You're out of places to go to for excuses. It was with Saban, the refs, and then it was, we're going to get him with DeBoer. We almost beat him. And then we get him at home, blah, blah, blah. The Vandy thing I thought was bad or was good because it was a bad matchup for Bama in terms of like, Vandy runs the football really well. Georgia had just ran for 7 yards a carry. And if they would have stuck to that game plan, I think that would have gone much more in their favor. And then also Vandy did some very uncharacteristic like things for Vandy, which is turn the football over, not stay ahead of the chains. They gave a couple sacks. Like that was not really their MO for how successful they've been or when they've been successful for the past year and a half. Like I think they had 3 turnovers last year. It was the fewest in the entire country. I mean, like Pavia, like he turned the ball over twice. So I think that was a really big, I don't want to say emotional, but a big win for Bama fans because of everything that surrounded it, all the trash talk, all that kind of stuff. Here's the comp I'll give you to Mizzou. And this is why I get very nervous for what Bama's walking into on Saturday. 2010, Alabama plays, they're coming off a national championship, right? And they are you play 8 conference games. And the first one's against Arkansas, who's a top 10 team. The second one's against Florida, who's a top 10 team. And we all know the history they had with Florida right before them, with the Tebow games back and forth, blah, blah, blah. Then they started their next 6 games. And every single opponent they had a week off beforehand. Okay. They win the first game in dramatic fashion at Arkansas. They go home and beat the brakes off of Florida. And now you feel great about yourself. Does anyone playing along at home want to guess what the next week game was in 2010? South Carolina and Steven Garcia. And they walked into a very well-coached offense, a very good and underrated defense with playmakers all over the field that no one had really heard about yet, like which they should have. And they got carved up by Steve Spurrier and Steven Garcia completing 80% of his passes. That may sound like a lot of hoops to jump through to get to that comparison. But if you look at the numbers, Bo Pribula is pretty good at passing the football, right? This offense is really good. They've run the ball better than anyone else in the country. Ahmad Hardy leads the country, I believe, in missed tackles force. If you check Bama stats, how good they are tackling the ball carrier, not great. They came into last week 80%, which was the lowest in the SEC. So there's a lot to like here for Mizzou. I'm out of breath.
Okay, so let me go back there for a second. Like we talked about, last time Mizzou has played a Power 4 team was September 20th. Obviously, they had UMass, which no offense to UMass, but it's basically a break. And then we have another break. Right. So my question for you was, how did you feel about that being an advantage or a disadvantage in terms of the fact that Alabama did just play this very emotional game against Vanderbilt? And then it's like, and it was a revenge game, mind you, a revenge game.
Yeah, I got it.
Mizzou's trying to get on the opposite side of that revenge after we went to Tuscaloosa last year and, got the break speed off of us after Brady Cook went down and whatnot.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about it? Do you feel like it's an advantage for Mizzou? Do you feel like it's an advantage for Alabama? How's it looking?
So I'm of the mindset of like, if you are playing to win championships down the line, and this is already going to come off backhanded and it shouldn't at all. But like, I look at Georgia a couple of years ago, I think it was 2023. There was some year where they had they were really good, but it was like, man, that schedule is really easy. Like they don't play anybody for the first month or so. They get one ranked opponent in October and then maybe 1 or 2 in November at most. But there was a space between all of them. They weren't getting like there was no gauntlet they had to go through. And I was like, that just feels like by the time they get to the postseason, which they will get to, they're not going to know what they're made of and how to go out there and win a ball game in close, when they have to execute and have their backs against the wall. I'm not saying that's the case with Mizzou because I think Mizzou is a very tough football team. I think they play with a chip on their shoulder. I think that they have been, I don't think begging is the right word for respect. Deserving is definitely a word I would use. But I think that they are we're allowed to cuss. I think they are so fucking over hearing about what an afterthought they are as a program that now you get Alabama, who's not the big boy of the conference anymore, especially this year, but them coming into your house after a week off. I think Eli Drinkwitz's got to be looking at shops to be like, there are holes on this defense for Alabama. And don't get me wrong, they're very, very good, especially when they play the way they can play. But you're in a great spot if you're Missouri, and you have a chance in front of an incredible brunch crowd at 11 a.m. At Faroe Field. Is that what it is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And to put a really big win under your belt, because I think if you win this game, you're in the playoff. Because I don't see two other teams. I don't see more than 2 teams beating Mizzou after this.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think it's a fair assessment, especially if you say that, like, if you can beat Alabama, you should be able to beat, Auburn. You should be able to beat A&M coming to your house. Like, I mean, I think that's a really fair assessment. We do have to take a break. Got to pay some bills here, real quick. I want to talk about how you think Alabama can defend Missouri's offense with what they've shown so far this year on tape. But first, I got to call all Chiefs fans. You guys already know you could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. Enter to win a chance to be on the field for a once-in-a-lifetime view of the pregame coin toss. Plus, you could score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the official proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back right after this.
Looking to remodel your home and in search of a top-quality company to do the job? Contact Elenco. Since 1986, Elenco has been the remodeler of choice for customers throughout Kansas and Missouri. As a family-owned and operated business, Elenco provides customers top-quality products and unbeatable service straight from their family to yours. From windows and doors to siding, insulation, and bathroom renovations, there's no need that Elenco can't meet and exceed. Elenco only installs products that have proven track records of success, such as the Kohler Luckstone shower system. Elenco's installers are factory-trained professionals who know how to get the job done, not only quickly, but flawlessly. Whether you're located in Kansas City, Topeka, Wichita, or a rural town in northeastern Kansas or western Missouri, Elenco will come to you. Go to elencohome.com for more information. That's ALENCO home.com. Again, elencohome.com for more information and contact them about all your home improvement needs.
Chiefs Kingdom, I have got a question for you. What is your favorite touchdown? Well, for me, I can confidently say that my favorite touchdown, it's the next one, because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From the first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. From spreads to money lines, same-game parlays, regular parlays, you want it, DraftKings has got it. Here's the best part. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. I use DraftKings Sportsbook, and you should too. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
My name is Terrell Jolly. A lot of people call me TJ, founder and CEO of Integrity Capital Management. So Integrity Capital Management originally started out as a property management firm, but we slowly transitioned to what is described as an incremental development firm that's focused on situational housing. I know most people say affordable, but we believe in creating housing for people that are actually in need and built to the end user. I believe everyone needs a home, because when you have home, you have hope. The reality is that when you're building a business, one thing you don't think about is like what a true banking relationship means. And, I had the honor and privilege of meeting Debbie early on in my career when I was just trying to get going. And as a small business, it's really challenging at times because people don't understand the concept or not believe the longevity because you're just getting started. But Debbie was willing to take a chance on me, be patient with me. I almost look at it like a grassroots initiative. She's seen and believe what I'm about. Anybody that's really true about their business and want to get some things done, I would definitely trust hands down Emprise, because Deb's team, along with Aaron and Jackie and all the amazing people that work behind the scenes, even from the treasury side, I would say, hey, give them an opportunity. because you won't be disappointed, and you will actually be in hands that actually somebody care and that will see you from start to finish.
Hanging out here with Chris Marler talking Mizzou, Alabama. Big matchup coming up at 11 a.m. Marler, you hit on something just before the break that I kind of want to talk about too. It feels like Missouri's defense has been very good, and Missouri's defense probably was maybe the unit that we expected the most out of coming into the season. But the offense has been a very pleasant surprise from what they've gotten from Bo Perbula, and I think Ahmad Hardy is better than what a lot of people anticipated. They anticipated him to be pretty good too, and he's been better than that. He's been a Heisman candidate as well. So how do you kind of anticipate? You mentioned the Alabama defense having some holes. How do you anticipate them trying to defend this Missouri offense?
Well, some of us were already anticipating how good of a season he was going to have. Some of us actually brought it up in a very long-winded question to Eli Drinkwitz at Media Days right before they embarrassed themselves and asked him about his favorite Celsius flavor, which went unanswered. So that was me. But no, because if you look at it, no one should be surprised. This isn't, I'm not pushing back on what you said. I'm just once again, I feel like trying to educate the masses outside of Missouri. No one should be surprised about Ahmad Hardy. He ran for 1,400 yards where he came from at Louisiana Monroe. Also, if you look at the history, just the track record of Eli Drinkwitz in his offense, he has had a guy that has been in the top 4 in rushing in the SEC every year he's been there. I'm pretty sure he had somebody lead the SEC at least twice, and it was you guys will have to help me out with the names.
Cody Schrader and Tyler Beatty.
Yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Not Beatty Schroeder and Tyler Cantrell. I don't know what I would have said, but like the whole thing is like that they're not like predicated off the run necessarily, but they are really good at running the football, and that's where they want to live as an offense. We just get kind of stuck in this mindset of like, oh, they have Luther Burden, they have all these other good receivers. That's where they're probably going to be. I think Ahmad Hardy, going back to what you said, like the how good of a job he's done. It obviously was on display in the South Carolina game. He was running through people, and I will tell you, as somebody that runs a South Carolina podcast and like was watching that game from the other side, it was very evident. And I mean, from the defensive line, the linebackers, and especially the defensive backs when they got to the third and fourth quarter, they wanted no part of tackling that kid. And one of the things that I saw the biggest improvement for Bama over the past couple weeks is they have been a lot better, at least in the beta game, of like bringing their arms to tackle and making sure they are not just trying to like be in a position to have like a big hit or be lazy and mechanically like unsound. Like they've been better at that, but you better make sure you do it on every single play. Cause if you don't, you saw the final play against Kansas, right? It wasn't Hardy, but like the final play, the nail in the coffin against Kansas, when you break off like a 60-yard run, like points are going to be at a premium. I feel like in this game, and in anything like that, if you're not focused for all 4 quarters, I think Bama, they would be at their own detriment. It's not a sentence.
Yeah, Mizzou likes to run a lot of that outside zone with honestly both of their running backs. So it will be interesting to see how they can stop Jamal. I think he's number 7 in the SEC in rushing yards. So
right.
He's no slouch as well. So you have 2 teams kind of with opposite strengths and weaknesses, right? You've got this really good pass offense with Ty Simpson and Jeremy Bernard, which I hate to hate on someone, but I cannot stand how they spell his name. It's just
Jeremy?
Yeah, Jeremy, and it drives me insane.
Jeremy.
And of course, Ryan Williams, who everybody knows about. And then you've got Mizzou with this great rush defense. Which of the strengths do you think are better? Do you think it's better to have that super dynamic pass offense? Or do you think it's better to have that super dynamic rush defense? Like, what do you think serves? Yeah. Which team serves the advantage there?
Well, first and foremost, thing about Ryan Williams that nobody understands is that last year he was 17 years old.
Right.
And that's like something we don't talk a lot about anymore. Now that he's 18. Okay. I will say that I love what Bama's able to do passing the football when Ty Simpson's not under pressure. And there are games, the past 2 games, he's been good. He got sacked 4 times against Vandy. They were like against Georgia, they were pretty flawless. I don't know how that always happens. I'm sure somebody will say it's the refs, but it's not. But they looked really good. Then Caden Proctor, like they're living up to what they should be. But this is again like one of the biggest names that no one wanted to talk about outside of Mizzou was the kid from Georgia. Why can't I think of Damon or Damon?
Damon Wilson.
Damon Wilson, former 5-star, and I wish I didn't say Damon. That feels bad. But Damon Wilson coming out of Georgia, former 5-star, and then ending at Mizzou, not talked about nearly enough. And then you look at his numbers going this past weekend, 21 pressures so far this year, more than Georgia's entire defensive line combined. So I think that this game is going to come down to Simpson being able, if the pocket's clean and he's able to be protected long enough. Missouri's secondary is good statistically. I watched them get carved up on several times against Lenore Sellers. They also have not played anybody that they were close to the ability of Alabama.
Right.
I feel like I probably shouldn't have to say this because you guys are, what's that word I'm looking for that not a lot of SEC fans are, but like rational and logical fans at Mizzou and like a little bit more well-educated. But I feel like I almost have to like defend what I'm saying. This isn't like anything bad about Mizzou, but it is just like facts. They have not faced anybody that's close to the caliber of the offense that Alabama has. And specifically, everyone knew about Ryan Williams. I think him getting hurt in week 1 is the best thing that could have happened long-term to this offense because Jeremy Bernard is, I thought going into the season, he was the most dynamic player they had. You get the Isaiah Horton kid who's 6'4" from Miami. He's a mismatch in the red zone, especially. And then you talk about this Isaiah Lotzier kid who's wears number 17, reminds you a little bit of Jalen Waddle. He can get up to over 23 miles an hour. Like he's very, very fast. I think that they are so dangerous with how many different weapons they can utilize in the pass game. But in this scenario, you have to make sure that you're able to block for Simpson because if he doesn't have time to throw, we saw what that looked like with Lenore Sellers. And this is a much better offensive line than South Carolina's because everyone is. Mm-hmm. But like that is what that can also look like if he's constantly under duress.
I think that's a good point to bring up too, because Missouri's defensive line. We keep talking. I think that this is what's important about this game is this competition, the level of competition Missouri's about to face with Alabama is not something that they've seen at all this year. Kansas is not as good of a football team as they thought they were going to be. I don't think South Carolina is as good as they thought they were going to be either. So this is a whole different ball game. So it's almost hard to kind of feel like what you've seen so far can translate. Obviously, some of it can translate, right? Like Ahmad Hardy running through guys, I think will translate. I'm pretty sure that will translate to this game, and him and their running ability, I think, will translate. They've got some questions. Missouri does on the offensive line with just who's going to be back with Caden Green. They're listing him as questionable. I think pretty much all week is probably what they'll do with Caden Green.
Yeah, you guys aren't really super reliable with that whole availability report. It's a joke at this point.
Neither is Lane Kiffin. So, I mean...
and you know what? But he's not involved in this game. I don't disagree with you. But every time it's brought up on that weekly teleconference, it's brought up every week to Drinkwitz, and he met some snide-ass remark about it. And I love Drinkwitz, but it's like, brother... I don't know what fight you're fighting right now between Kiffin, but it's very weird. Just say if somebody's in or out.
That he's trying to out Kiffin, I think is what he's trying to do.
It's so weird.
He's trying to do it. He might just be trying to fight against gambling companies is what he's trying to do. Who knows? Every
week, you guys know this. I love Mizzou, and I pull for Mizzou most weeks out of the year. And I love Drinkwitz, but he's such a dick on the weekly teleconference. It's like, you could ask him anything. It's like, hey, coach, did you see the sky out there or the moon last night? It was really beautiful. It's like, yeah, I mean, it would be if the sun wasn't about to implode into itself and the entire world was in 3 days. What? Like, it is like he makes you feel so small every time you ask a question.
That's my ball coach, and that's what I want to see from my ball coach. Yeah. Him, and then being dripped out in construction zones. I don't know if you saw that picture of him going around. He had that shit on, dude. He was wearing that shit in the construction zone. Speaking of having that shit on, the Missouri offenses has really had that shit on. 45.2 points per game, and they're, as we mentioned, with the degree of difficulty in those games, they're the number 7 scoring offense in the country right now, just ahead of the mighty Mean Green of North Texas. Talons up for them.
They've had a fun game this week.
They've had quite a year. North Texas has. How do you think that Alabama can kind of slow that down? I know we talked about the rushing aspect of it too, but Bo's been throwing the ball all across the yard, all over with tremendous accuracy, some great ball placement on his passing as well. I think coming into it, a lot of people anticipated him to be a very good dual threat quarterback, but they didn't know how the passing side of the threat would be. Seems like the passing side has kind of come along a lot better than a lot of people anticipated.
Yeah, he's leading the SEC in completion percentage. It's like 75.9%. you can sit there and get hung up on the fact that they haven't played anybody. That's fine. South Carolina, I know for a fact, has a pretty good secondary.
Yeah.
I think they turned them over. Was it once or twice in that game? But I mean, Trivial has been awesome, dude. He has been awesome, and like the legs are the part that are like kind of go not unnoticed, but not spoken about nearly enough. I think one of the things that's going to be key in this is that sounds so stupid and trivial because it's a typical thing for football, but like turning the ball over. There's every part of me when I look at this drive, like this or the drive to start the game when you're on script. I feel like both of these teams are going to be at their best then. Two phenomenal play callers, two great offensive-minded coaches, and plus, like I said, you have the week off for Mizzou coming into this one. And like, dude, you better Bama better hope that the players aren't taking the same type of mindset and attitude towards Missouri as everyone else seems to take towards Missouri. And just not take them seriously because this is and I hope that, and I'm sure they won't if they're inside watching any sort of tape at all. But this is a game too where I feel like Vandy last week went right down the field. They scored. They're up 7-0. Bama had that turnover early, and now you're sitting there in this situation where you have to punt to them, and you're like, man, if you get behind by 2 scores early, it's hard for me to imagine like getting a ton of stops. Like I don't think it's gonna be crazy high scoring, but at the same time, it's like you do not feel good if you're Bama if you're down by multiple scores here. I think the name that people are going to finally start to hear, Kevin Coleman, because when he was at Mississippi State, he only led the SEC in receiving, I think, yards and had the most receptions of any receiver coming back. So it makes sense that nobody would have ever paid attention to it. Now he's up in Mizzou, so I think that kid is going to have he'll have his hands full a little bit because it's a really good secondary, but they're apt to some breakdowns, especially when it comes to a quarterback that can run. So I think if you can limit the turnovers, you can figure out a way to limit the explosive plays specifically in the run game for both quarterbacks. Because when they get out of the pocket, they tend to be at their most dangerous.
So, okay, I feel like you kind of gave a couple of your keys to Mizzou winning the game or the keys to Alabama winning the game.
I would never have said that.
Right in that last one. What do you think are the keys for? We'll talk about maybe Alabama in a second, but what do you think are the keys for Mizzou winning the game on Saturday?
Probably going back to the Big 12. I hadn't said it in 30 minutes, so I was actually contractually obligated to make sure I brought it up as a lifelong SEC homer.
Right.
No, the keys to winning, I think establishing the run. I think establishing the run. One of the things that Georgia game against Bama, they kind of shot themselves in the foot was that they're averaging 7 yards a carry. So you guys are smart. If you're running the ball for 7 yards a carry, maybe run the football.
You're probably going to win the game if you just keep doing that.
Control the clock, run the football. It's 4th and 1. Maybe we don't put in a 4th-string white running back near the goal line and figure that out. Unless it's Cody Schrader back for an 8th year of eligibility. Otherwise, you just don't do that. Mm-hmm. So I think that Missouri knows its identity a lot more than that Georgia team did. And then they play to their identity a lot more than Vanderbilt did a week ago, if that makes sense. Like, I think that in those situations, what Bama's going to have to do, especially against Eli Drinkwitz, they're going to have to play for all 4 downs. Like if you get a 3rd and 2 and they're ahead of the chains, you're already in kind of a bad spot here because Ahmad Hardy falls forward pretty regularly. So that's probably the best I've ever pronounced the word regularly. I'm so bad at it. So I'm very, very proud of myself there. Shameless transition. I think you get a stop and it's 4th and 1. You feel like this sigh of relief because you're getting the ball back because there are going to be a lot of situations where they are moving the chains a lot against this defense. If that happens, you have to figure out a way to make sure you're stopped at getting all 4 downs stopped, which again sounds very elementary and stuff like that. But like that sigh of relief on 3rd down is not necessarily going to get you off the field. The other part of it too is I wonder how wide open he will be with his decision making because you guys lost your kicker for the year, like before the South Carolina game. So what is that
first game, Central Arkansas?
So like, what does that look like? And I heard this one's not even fat, so it's like you guys are already out of your comfort zone for kickers. Yes, it's pretty terrible. That's just bad recruiting. Some people want 6'1" defensive backs. You guys want like a 280-pound kicker, and I dig it. I think with him being out for the year, it'll be interesting to see how much more aggressive Eli Drinkwitz is in the early part of the game, especially because Alabama's kicker is a nightmare. Mm-hmm. And if you can figure out a way to get points at a premium, like I said, like and get 7 instead of 3, I wonder how many more times, especially when he's across the 40, he'll go for that.
Well, and in some of the early games this season, we struggled scoring in the red zone. So that's definitely going to have to be something that our kicker's done okay. He did have that 42 yard field goal against South Carolina to seal the deal, which was great. But it does.
Did you see Bama's kicker versus Georgia?
Yeah, I mean,
he kicked a ball that was 40 to 42 yards left of the goalpost. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I did see it. It does make me nervous though, because you think about the amount of games from 2023 to now that we've relied on a kicker to make a field goal to win the game. You've got that Florida game in 2023 was a big one. Obviously, the K-State one where the thicker kicker kicks the 61, 62 yards, whatever.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm waiting for that game where not having a good kicker is going to hurt us. And I do have slight fear that, every single week that it's coming. Yeah, it just makes me nervous. It's just such an important aspect of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, welcome to the life of a Bama fan, dude. They haven't had a kicker since Nam. It's been a tough stretch out there in Tuscaloosa. What's up, Pepper? So I think it's a pretty. Usually, I would say fearing that to happen every week is probably like a rational fear. But I think in this game especially, it's not a bad point. I'm going to reverse this to you guys, and I want your honest opinion since you're Missouri fans. Like not trying to give me coach speak.
Yeah.
Do you think the wrong team is favored?
No.
Tucker does.
No, I don't.
No, because look at it this.
Mizzou's never beat Bama. Why would you?
We have not in the SEC. So
do it in another conference.
Probably year. Yeah. Not even the Big 12. I don't know if we played them when we were
the Big 8.
Glory days. But it's hard for me to think. Oh, that makes so much sense that Missouri would be favored, because it doesn't make any sense. Like, even when you listen to everybody who's been talking about the strength of schedule as if the strength of schedule 100% determines who wins a game. I mean, that's ridiculous. You watch the Big
10. 109 is bad.
Yeah, but think about this in terms of the strength of schedule that the ACC and the Big 10 play every year, and they still get people that are in the playoffs. So, and sometimes they win the games, not always, but sometimes they win those games. So, I mean,
it feels like a leap, but I will allow it. I will also say, they're 109 and no one else is in the top. Hold on, I should have pulled this up beforehand. I feel like nobody else is in the top 6. It's like a glaring statement. To your point, Indiana was in the hundreds going into the month of November last year, I believe. I know through half the year they were in the hundreds.
And it's not like our schedule has gotten better, and that is the reason that you play the games. It's at the beginning of the season, people were looking at Mizzou's schedule and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's so easy." And now I'm like, going to Vandy doesn't seem easy. We have to go Jordan Hare at night next week. Jordan Hare.
Yeah. Is that at night?
Yes.
Well, it's that night game. That's awesome.
We still have Texas A&M coming, who right now looks like one of the top.
Wait, what game is it on ESPN Plus or something stupid?
No, it's ESPN at 6 or 7:30.
Is it good? Okay, good. I know Bama plays Tennessee at the same time.
Oh,
so I didn't know, but I didn't mean to interrupt. You're right. That is it. I will also say it feels like you guys want to flip flop some things where it's like you guys. Vandy should be easier than Auburn, or Vandy will be more difficult than going to Auburn. But you're not wrong with what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Now I want to look up the numbers.
Well, and it's one of those things too. It's like everybody kind of now looks at us and we're like, "Oh, we didn't know Mizzou would be this good." Well,
right.
I get that, but that's based on name alone. Because if you looked at the transfer portal and you've looked what Drink has done in the transfer portal over the past few years, I mean, it's not like we didn't have a good transfer portal class. We had a very good transfer portal class.
Hold on, I need to look it up. You guys it's the 6th easiest schedule so far in all of Power 4, only ahead of Rutgers, Cal, Maryland, Wake Forest, and Pitt.
Some juggernauts there.
And that's really only because teams like South Carolina aren't living up to their hype.
Okay.
Am I wrong though?
Kind of true.
Am I wrong?
They could have easily.
Kansas not leading up to it.
They could have. If you start if first and goal from the 1 turns to second and 25, almost every team in America avoids that situation. Almost everyone. But South Carolina somehow finds a way to not do that. I mean, Yes, sure. That is part of it. But I don't think UMass at home and the 6 straight home games have helped. I tell you what, the thing that everyone keeps dogging that and say like, well, like you still have to have like the rest of the schedule. But I mean, like whoever set up this schedule deserves the biggest raise. And we can sit here and people will bitch about it once Missouri makes the playoff, which I personally think they will. Like they're too good of a team, in my opinion, not to. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and everyone they've played so far is dog shit, and they will not amount to anything, blah, blah, blah. They've won 21 games in the last 2 seasons. Like, they might lose to Bama on Saturday, and if they do, I still trust them to get through at least Oklahoma or A&M because they're that good of a football team. But the thing is, if people are going to complain about that, whoever made the schedule, it's not like they were like, we got to give Missouri a break, dude. Because that's what the SEC always does to Missouri, is just give them a break. That, you know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? And so, but the bye weeks, the way they set the bye weeks before A&M and Bama.
That's the best part of the schedule.
Yeah.
That is the best part of the schedule. That's better than, I mean, I don't like the 6 weeks in a row type thing because that does, like you said, does suck for the end of the year. And also, after I go to the Alabama game, I have 2 more home games the rest of the season. It's not even October.
Right.
What?
Wouldn't you rather be in the playoff?
Yeah, but
have a home game against Arkansas in November.
Yeah, but you still got to go. I mean, that's 4 away games you have in a very short amount of time. I mean, last year we watched Tennessee lose at Arkansas.
Anyway, that is not the same team that's going to be Arkansas. But also, my whole point and the easy layup answer that I was trying to give you, Mags, was, yeah, you would rather just be in the playoff than have the home games against Arkansas. But I think that the thing that people will find a way to complain about, I'm sure, at the end of this, like it's still a great, whoever set it up deserves a raise because the name of the game is to get to the playoff. And every single person that sits here and talks about how Billy Napier's on the hot seat, talk about Sam Pittman has already been fired. Pittman had to play like 31 of his 66 games as head coach were against ranked teams. You can't convince me that Billy Napier, his schedule wasn't set up by Kirby Smart. Like, so good for a team setting something up for success going into a season that could be a really big year for them. Like, it's like, you guys have been good a bunch of times. 2007 was awesome. 2013, 2014, they were awesome years. Last year, the year before, it still didn't translate into getting into the national championship or the playoff. Those things don't happen everywhere. Not like, this is not a shot at you, but like outside of Ohio State and Bama, like, it's not like they happen everywhere every single year. So it's like good for you for setting that up.
I do think I went and I looked back at the Winsipedia. The all-time series Alabama-Mizzou is 6-2. Missouri's last win against Alabama came in 1975. It was a 20-7 win in Birmingham. So I'll go
here for Bama.
Neutral site.
No, that was the home game then. I mean, Tuscaloosa was there, but it was a smaller stadium. So they played all their big games in Birmingham.
Oh, interesting.
It was a very big game.
35-10 in 1968, Missouri beat them in the Gator Bowl, and then since then Alabama beat them in.
You want to be there?
78, right? You probably had guys opt out. You know, probably opt out
for fucking Vietnam, dude. they were going to war,
right? And then obviously, you had the SEC championship game.
Yeah, where Shane Ray got ejected for the most bullshit call imaginable.
Yeah, it was all downhill from
right off the bat.
Yeah, the 2 SEC championship games that Mizzou has played in, Trey Mason ran all over them for Auburn, and then that one was just.
Well, hold on. What did you say? How many?
2.
That's weird because that seems like it's more than Tennessee and Ole Miss and A&M. Kentucky, Vandy, South Carolina. I don't want to jump on a limb here, but I'd say combined over the last 12 years.
Yeah.
Weird.
You're not
crazy.
That is kind of crazy.
That, huh?
Crazy stats. Crazy.
2 SEC titles. So back to your original point of do I think the wrong team's favored here? No. I think that Alabama. We were still talking about that. I think that Alabama deserves to be favored in this game, especially with the recent form coming into the win over Vandy, the win over Georgia, the way that Ty Simpson's playing. I think I've seen him be a Heisman frontrunner in a lot of places now, just with how he's played and been throwing the football recently. I understand it. I get it. If I'm Drinkwitz, I want that I want that team to be I want them to be favored. But I do
a night
think
game would have been nice, but also
But this game was also scheduled in June.
Yeah.
This was one of those, we've known it's been 11 a.m. since like June. So when it came out, some people were weird and mad about it. I'm like, did you not look at the schedule?
I mean, it is. What's weird to me is that it's at noon, or I'm sorry, 11 a.m. and not 2:30, because we're all in Central Time Zone now, because we're like all Central Time Zone girlies. Now that I live over here in Baton Rouge, Central Time Zone fucking rules, dude. It is awesome.
It is superior. I don't know admit that now you're in the superior one.
I would sit there in Atlanta. I lived there my whole life for Columbia, South Carolina, and I'm like, God, it's dark way too soon. Do you remember when you were a kid and you'd come home and TRL would be on at like 3:30 in the afternoon? It's like already getting dark. Like, what is this? Where do you live? This is not the same planet. Anyway,
Yeah.
enough of that rant. No, I think the thing that's weird is that we've seen Texas OU be the 12 o'clock game a million times over.
Yeah.
Why was that not the 11 a.m. kick? I mean, like that part sucks.
Especially because
you guys.
they're not getting game day, which they typically get. They're not getting SEC Nation. Like everybody's kind of looking at this Red River, whatever game, and
shootout.
There's kind of low interest. It's not as because you don't know, because if you don't know if Mateer's playing, Texas has been turds. Yeah. So it's like,
yeah, more like Tex ass poo, mid Tex poo ass.
Yeah.
Got him, dude.
Oh,
No, I just wish they could have.
I didn't think I'm not going to slam dunk it, brother.
It just sucks that they can't make changes to times like that. Like you can make every other game a flex, but you can't make that game a flex. It's just,
Yeah.
whatever.
I thought you were talking about daylight savings time for a minute. And I was like, I'm all aboard that train. That's a good point.
it's
Get
true.
rid of that. Fuck farmers. You know what I mean? Just kidding. Just a joke. I guess somebody's a farmer. I don't mean that.
You
It was
are a
different up.
Wait, should we make predictions real quick?
Yeah, that's fun. I'm fine with predictions.
Okay, Marler, you go first.
Again, I'll predict that I never talk to you again if Alabama loses. Both of you. I'll predict that I end up making a very emotional statement on Twitter, probably regret it, delete it the next morning when I have a bunch of anxiety, and maybe make an ass of myself in the LSU press. But no, I'm kidding. I won't do that. It's gonna be a full day for me. I got this at 11. South Carolina LSU is at 6:30 Central Time, and I'll be in the press box for that, which will be a ton of fun. I think with this game, prediction wise, I just like Ahmad Hardy, like for 4 quarters. I think he's very difficult to take down, like we talked about. And I keep going back to that comp, and maybe it's irrational, maybe it's like, being a fan fearing the worst. But I will have my fan hat on for this specific one. Bama's really, really good. I think they've turned the corner really good. Ty Simpson deserves all the praise he's getting, and that trio of receivers in 4, if you want to include Brooks, I think is one of the best in the country. I think that 2010 blueprint of beating Arkansas, beating Florida, 2 top 10 teams back to back, and then getting into a gauntlet of games with people with a bunch of either bye weeks or cupcakes the week before. That's going to be very difficult for Alabama to overcome. I think Missouri this is like a Super Bowl moment for them, to where they can vault themselves finally into the conversation that they have deserved to be in for a long time. I'll say Missouri 31, Bama 28.
Interesting. Okay.
Bitches.
Okay. Our listeners who, if you're a loyal listener, you know this. I have said on this show, every single episode, basically, that I will not pick Mizzou to beat Alabama until they can prove to me that they can beat Alabama. Yeah. And I am okay with being wrong if Mizzou decides they want to beat Alabama. Our score predictions are very similar, though. I was looking more of like a 30-27, so we were like right on there with that. But I do think it'll be close. I think it'll go into the 4th quarter, regardless of who comes out on top. It could even come down to who gets the ball. The ball last. I know both teams in under 2 minutes I would trust to score. So I'm just hoping we have the ball in our hands whenever that time comes.
It's gonna be a high scoring game. Both these offenses like to score points. Missouri, I think I said top 7, and also time of possession wise, Missouri is the number 1 team in terms of time of possession.
I think Bama's 2.
And so like it's pretty high. Like both of these teams are going to be scoring a lot of points. I do think it could come down to the kicking situation for either team, which could be a kind of an ironic way for this game to end that has both high scoring offenses for the kickers for it to fall on. But I'm with I can't pick them to beat Alabama until I see them beat Alabama in the 20th century. So I'm probably going to pick Alabama in this one too. And that's funny because both of the Missouri hosts are picking Alabama, and the guy we brought on to talk about the Alabama Crimson Tide is picking Missouri. That's what you never know what you're going to get on Mizzou. That too. You never know.
Yeah.
We're throwing you curveballs week after week.
We'll probably get some hate in the comments, but it's okay. They're gonna love you, Marlers.
Are they?
That's all that.
Good. I think Mizzou's the only fan base that's, I would say, that wasn't my own. South Carolina fans like me for the most part, but man, Bama fans do not. So,
Huh.
Yeah,
Well,
fun fact. Mizzou, I think,
Maybe
does.
because you pick against them. I don't know.
Probably. Yeah, probably. I think having that whole Auburn fiance thing wasn't a great idea. I mean, it was for me, but like I don't think that they enjoyed that as much. She's pretty vocal about her hate for them. So,
well,
That's fair.
can't win them all. I guess can't win them all. Hopefully Missouri does win this one. Marler, we appreciate you hopping on and talking some Tide here, Maggie. I think that's going to do it for this edition of Mizzou That's Who. For Chris Marler, Maggie Johnson, I'm Tucker Franklin. I'll be back with you after this game. We'll be live right after the game gets done to break it all down on the Mizzou That's Who post-game show. Hopefully you join me there.
you will be breaking down emotionally.
I might be crashing out. So that's why you guys gotta be tuning in to the post game show. So that's gonna do it for us. I'll talk to you guys after Mizzou in Alabama on Saturday.